Have you ever noticed how some people seem to transform quietly, almost invisibly, while others stay stuck in the same cycles for years? The same frustrations, the same need for approval, the same patterns repeated over and over. Most people miss something crucial. Real transformation doesn't happen when you're constantly explaining yourself. It doesn't come from being louder, more visible, or endlessly proving your worth. It happens in silence. In the early mornings, no one sees. In the disciplined decisions that don't get posted. In the quiet effort that slowly rewires you from the inside out. That's where Stoic philosophy becomes powerful. It doesn't tell you to perform strength. It tells you to build it. To cultivate an inner structure so stable that the outside world can't easily shake it. Today we're exploring something deeper than just being quiet. We're exploring why silence is not weakness, it's strategy. And how focusing inward, without the constant need to be seen, unlocks a level of clarity and power most people never experience. The individuals who truly reshape their lives understand something subtle. They don't operate in explanation mode. They aren't constantly justifying their choices. While others argue, defend, and seek applause, these people build, quietly, consistently, relentlessly. They move with a calm certainty that comes from not needing validation. Their peace isn't dependent on recognition. Their progress isn't fueled by applause. And paradoxically, the less they speak about what they're doing, the more powerful they appear. Because silence carries weight. There's something magnetic about someone who doesn't need to announce themselves. Their presence communicates stability. Their focus is tangible. Their energy feels grounded. Plato once said, "Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something." This isn't about muting yourself. It's about ensuring that when you speak, it comes from substance, not noise. So what makes silence so powerful? Is it just restraint? Avoiding drama? Staying out of small talk? No. True silence, the kind that transforms you, isn't passive. It's active, intentional, alive. It's not merely the absence of sound. It's the presence of depth. When you remove constant stimulation, your mind doesn't shut down. It recalibrates. It reorganizes. It starts operating from a different level. In that stillness, you begin to see yourself clearly. Without distraction, your patterns surface. Your internal narratives become audible. The stories you've been repeating for years finally step into awareness. Carl Jung expressed it powerfully. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens. Silence awakens you. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people avoid silence because silence is honest. When you sit alone without distraction, doubt shows up. Insecurity surfaces and regret whispers. The parts of yourself you've been numbing with noise rise to the surface. And instead of facing them, many people reach for their phone. Open another tab. Start another argument. Scroll another feed. Avoidance feels easier, but avoidance is not neutral. What you avoid doesn't disappear. It buries itself deeper, quietly draining you. That's why you can feel exhausted without doing much, busy without moving forward, active but not progressing. Unprocessed thought is heavy. Fragmented focus is draining. Silence confronts that. Why do we keep choosing noise? Because we've been conditioned to equate visibility with value. Attention feels like significance. Being seen feels like importance. But Aristotle warned long before the digital age. The ultimate value of life depends upon awareness and the power of contemplation rather than upon mere survival. Constantly seeking attention is survival behavior. It keeps you reacting instead of reflecting. What if you stopped reacting? What if you stopped explaining every move? What if instead of broadcasting your progress, you simply built it? You would reclaim enormous energy. Energy currently leaking into arguments that don't matter. Conversations that don't elevate you. Opinions that don't improve you. Imagine redirecting that energy into mastery, into discipline, into alignment. Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Silence is where examination begins. Your brain isn't designed to process thousands of opinions daily. It's not built for constant comparison, constant reaction, constant stimulation. It's built for focus. But when overwhelmed by noise, gossip, scrolling, drama, your clarity erodes. You lose decisiveness. You lose intuition. You lose internal direction. And that erosion is subtle but dangerous. Because without clarity, you hesitate. You second guess. You distrust your own instincts. Now imagine reclaiming that attention. Imagine building an identity not based on how the world sees you, but on how deeply you know yourself. How often are your days scattered instead of spent? Not exhausted from effort, but from fragmentation. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for decision-making and focus, thrives in calm environments. It recalibrates in silence. And from that recalibration comes something powerful. Control. Not control over others. Self-mastery. Aristotle said, "What lies in our power to do lies in our power not to do." The power not to react. The power not to prove. The power not to perform. That power grows in silence. There is a phase in every transformation that almost no one talks about. It's the phase where nothing looks different on the outside. No applause, no dramatic breakthrough, no visible proof that anything is changing. From the outside, it looks like you're the same person. But internally, something is reorganizing. This is the invisible phase, and most people quit here. Because in this stage, your effort doesn't yet match your results. You're waking up earlier, but no one notices. You're thinking differently, but your environment hasn't adjusted. You're building discipline, but the world still treats you like the old version of yourself. That gap is uncomfortable. It feels like you're moving forward in private while standing still in public. And this is exactly where silence becomes your advantage. If you need recognition to continue, you will stop here. If you need proof to stay committed, you will slow down here. If you need others to validate your evolution, you will doubt yourself here. But if your motivation is internal, if your progress is measured by alignment instead of applause, you become dangerous in this phase. Because now, you're not performing growth. You're embodying it. There is something powerful about continuing without witnesses. It forces your discipline to become real. It forces your commitment to exist without reward. And that is where identity hardens. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself not to be distracted by praise or criticism, but to focus on the work of being good. Not appearing good, not sounding good, being good. The invisible phase is where that difference becomes clear. This is also where your old habits will test you. They'll whisper, "No one sees this." They'll ask, "What's the point?" They'll tempt you back into noise, back into performance, back into visibility. Because performance is easier than patience. But patience builds permanence. Think about anyone you truly respect. Their strength wasn't built in public. It was built in rooms where no one was watching. It was forged in repetition, in restraint, in choosing long-term clarity over short-term validation. That's what you're doing in this phase. You're building a version of yourself that doesn't collapse when attention disappears. And when the results finally show, and they will, they won't feel sudden. They'll feel inevitable, because you already did the work in silence. Silence is not about disappearing from the world. It's about building yourself so deeply that the world cannot shake you. You don't need to announce your progress. You don't need to defend your discipline. And you certainly don't need permission to evolve. Let others debate. Let others perform. You build quietly, consistently, deliberately. Because real transformation is never loud in the beginning. It grows beneath the surface. It strengthens in repetition. It becomes visible only after it has become real. So, the next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, pause. The next time you want to prove something, step back. Put that energy into becoming instead of convincing. Stay focused. Stay disciplined. Let your actions speak when the time is right. And remember, silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. I'll see you in the next one.